What's up, Indonesia? Wow, how you doing? So it's been 1 year since I've come to Jakarta and I'm coming back for the MarkPlus annual conference. We're going to talk about branding, consumer behavior, entrepreneurship, the Southeast Asian experience. I'm going to go wild with satay. What's up, satay? I'm going to go wild with gado gado. You've got to be a fool to miss me. See you there.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You can do louder than that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum salam.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I come all of this way. For that, for gado gado, for satay, for rendang, and the MarkPlus annual conference. Thanks very much, Bakar Mawan. Thanks, Rob Walcott. Really happy to be here. I'm trying to look at everybody in this room, but that's kind of difficult. So, back again, another year, and I had to bring my buddy with me, Mohamed Geraldez, because he had no idea what he was missing. So he was in Malaysia speaking at a conference, and I said, stay a couple more days and come and do this thing with me, right?
And I didn't want to.
And he didn't want to.
I talk a lot. I don't know if I talk well, but I talk a lot, and I didn't want to talk anymore. But our friend here coerced me.
Basically, because I kind of thought, Bakar Mawan gave me the topic on halal global lifestyle trends, and then like Bakar Mawan does, he tweaked the program, so now it says marketing, entrepreneurship, and Muslim markets. And so I kind of thought, if I'm the guy that worked in advertising, the PhD in branding, why don't I bring the guy from Cali with a different accent, studied Sharia, fluent in Arabic, the black man. Was it the other way around? No, he's the black man in an Asian body, and I'm the Asian guy in a black body. So, one of the reasons that we came all of this way, me, black mother, white father, Muslim convert, him, Filipino, Muslim convert, American,
California.
man of mystery, Cali, is we want to keep in touch, right? So the reason that we're talking a little bit longer is, those are our details. Get your phones out, get on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever your favorite platform is, holla and follow. Today's about networking, right? You haven't come here just to get free things, nice food. You've come to what? Do business, right? So let's do business. What do you want to say, Mohamed, now that you're here?
I'm from the great state of California, and in California we love to hug our trees. We're conservationists. Therefore, I've spoke a lot in Southeast Asia. I was in Kuala Lumpur. I had a stack of business cards like this. By the end of the session, every single business card was gone. But I didn't get one message. I didn't get one email. I didn't get anything. But everyone added me on LinkedIn and Instagram. So I don't carry any business cards. You have to be resourceful enough to find me online. Anyways, it's all yours.
So, on with the show. What's been happening this year? If I was to summarize it, the headlines that you probably are thinking about is, Muslims are the new exotica. What do I mean by that? Everywhere I look, newspapers, online, TV shows, there's one of these Muslims on the program, right? Whether that's a celebrity chef in the UK or Sonny Bill Williams, New Zealand All Black Muslim rugby player, giving away his World Cup medal, refusing to have alcohol advertising on his sports shirt, the only person on the team. Or we have Maria Idrissi, one of the first hijabi models who was in the H&M commercial. Everywhere I go, it's like Muslims are the new exotica. Who are these Muslims? What do they do? Where do they live? What do they eat? Where do they sleep? What do they do with their women? Do their husbands see their hair? All of these questions I get day in, day out. Are you a terrorist? Are you going to eat me? And one of my jokes was, well, when we think about halal meat, right? And there's stunning involved, or not stunning. I said, actually, you don't have to worry. All of these old uncles in Pakistan that certify meat as halal, all they do is talk about stunning chicks. Chicks being chickens, right? Or something else. So, Muslims are the new exotica. Hijabis are the new blondes. What do I mean by this? Because if we think about in fashion and in advertising, traditionally, people would think of blonde-haired women as being something exotic and attractive, right? Different, unique, especially in Asia when everyone's got black hair. Actually, no, now people got pink hair, blue hair, gray hair, green hair. But this idea of something that's different, the new blonde, the new attractive thing. But there is another connotation. I don't know if it travels here, but in the West, sometimes people talk about being an airhead, right? Oh, this is my blonde day, meaning I'm acting a bit dumb today. And I go back to this thing about the hijabi, because people who wear hijab face that question. Do you wear it because you're oppressed? Because you don't have your own identity, your own personality, your own brain? What is it that you actually do? Do you work, or do you just pop out babies all the time? So, big news story: race, religion, politics. Last year I came here and I told you about Donald Trump. Reality got really real. 2017, we can see what's going on. If we look at online mobile sales, they are catching up fast. Online mobile shopping has overtaken desktop shopping. We're all on our phones. And if we think about high street stores, bricks and mortar, in the West, they're closing stores. So you would think from this that everything is about technology and online, right? People don't want to go shopping anymore. They want to do it through their phones. They don't want the hassle of going into a store. They don't want physical experiences. But then, the interesting trend is athleisure or athleisure, depending if you're American or British, is slowing down and retro is back in. Athleisure, if you didn't know, is things like this. Skip. You go to the gym and then you go out. So if we think about whether that's Sylvester Stallone, or we've got Gigi, or we've got Selena Gomez, tracksuits and high heels and handbags, they thought that this was going to be a long-lasting trend. People were going to stop wearing denim, they were going to wear yoga pants, and we were going to be sporty and socialize at the same time. But those sales have peaked. And retro is back in. Nostalgia, the old school. So this idea that we always want advancement, we always want technology, and we're getting different is not necessarily the same thing. We bounce back and we like the good old times. So if we think about retro and old school and nostalgia, what's another big headline that joins all of those things together? Well, I'm going to call out Nike. Nike on International Women's Day this year announced that it was going to produce hijabs as of next year. We see Ibtihaj Mohamed, Olympic fencer. We see streetwear hijabs. We see them playing around with the definition of what a hijab is. Edgy, functional, mysterious, linked into different cultural practices. Do not be surprised if you see non-Muslims wearing hijabs, because it's cool. Non-Chinese people wear kung fu outfits, right? Because it's cool. So think about Bruce Lee. Inspired a whole generation of people wearing yellow tracksuits with a black stripe down the side, wanting to be Chinese. Muslims, at the moment, the exotic, the unique, the difference, the headlines, the revolution is changing the way that people think in popular culture. So, this year, you might have seen reports being released, and I won't go into the numbers because numbers to 5,000 people is kind of boring. But they always talk about these gazillions and quadrillions of dollars, right? The Muslims are coming, there are billions of them, they spend lots of money, there are all of these businesses, come and make some Muslim money, you know, you can like retire early because all of these Muslims are eating and traveling and wearing clothes all at the same time. So what? So what? How does that help any of you in this room today? All of those big numbers do not matter if you don't know what your position is in the marketplace. So, what do you need to think about? Who are you as a professional, as a business, as a product, as a service? Who are you with? Who do you surround yourself with? Who is within your network, right? And what do you stand for? Now, this is nothing new to a Muslim audience, because if I was to tell you about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be and blessings be upon him, what did he do? He told you who he was. He told you who his companions were. He gave you hadith that in detail told you exactly who heard him say what he wanted you to do, right? All I'm telling you to do is, that thing that we used to do is still relevant today. Who you are connected with, what you stand for, and what you want to do. So, that's the big picture. I want to bring in Mohamed to kind of drill down and give a micro perspective.
So Professor Wilson talks about the market. I want to bring it down to the marketer, right? And this is an interesting piece, an idea that we see occurring right now. I want you guys to take a picture. When I present this slide all over the world, people are actually take a step back, especially the youngsters, the ones in college, the ones coming into or graduating from college and entering into this uncertain marketplace. How am I going to get a job? And I tell them that you've got to have a broad range now of understanding. The depth of expertise is somewhat becoming irrelevant now when you have people like Elon Musk, who's leading the way in multiple industries. They call them general experts. So when you look at something like this, you start to think to yourself, wow, I've got to be much more agile, and I must be able to adapt to the evolving workforce globally that is only getting shrunk day after day as technology advances. Got to stand closer. This right here, it's already happening here. Right outside, there's a bunch of Gojek and a bunch of Grab guys waiting on motorcycles in cars ready for you. It's called the what? Collaborative economy, the gig economy. I'm coming from California. Does anyone know the phrase digital nomad? Digital nomad, you guys, if anyone in the world, should know this phrase. Why? I'll tell you why. Digital nomads are individuals who write content for websites, who develop websites, and what happens is that these people who are from San Francisco, from Illinois, from New York, from New Jersey, life in America is very expensive, but they want to do what they have a passion for and what they love. They like to write content for speakers. You have a speaker company, I can write your content. However, and this is where, if you look up digital nomad, they use this one place in particular where a lot of digital nomads actually live. Bali. I'm charging New Jersey slightly lower than New Jersey prices for writing your content for your speaker, but I live in Bali. What does that mean? I make good money, and life is cheap. Business is all about one thing: margins. Business is about margins. And if I can charge lower than the market price, and I'm living in Bali, life is going to be good. And this is what's occurring. You have people, digital nomads, Gojek, and you have Gojek going into all these different industries, right? You guys see this, it's phenomenal. Technology, software, as Andreessen says, software is eating the world. Professor Wilson said this last year, and it was absolutely correct. Email is dying. A couple years ago, I was talking to my 13-year-old niece. I wanted to run my theory by her, and I said, so, what's your email? And she goes, who has email? And I was like, I know. That's why Facebook made a big push for Messenger, right? And we see this. We're all on different platforms. I'm an American, right? We're all about the internet. We're all about the web. I was in KL, and a guy comes up to me and says, Mohamed, I want to start a business. Should I work on my Instagram or should I work on my website? I said, work on your Instagram. Rob, would I ever say that to an American? You'd never say that to an American. Work on your Instagram rather than on your website? The reason why is because you guys do business in this region much different. I'm receiving contracts through WhatsApp messages. That's so weird to me as an American. I give you my business card. I expect an email. Pleasure meeting you. It was nice to meet you today at the MarkPlus conference. Now you guys like to just WhatsApp. Hey, pleasure meeting you. Let's have coffee. And that's why email is dying. People are just much more to the point. Instagram Messenger, Snapchat, WhatsApp, and you guys are just going straight to it. So that's why we're going to these new platforms.
That's also why I love how Americans say, I'm an American. We know, we understand your accent, right? No, I'm joking. So, if I call some people out, Rob sends me long, beautifully written emails.
You know why?
One sends me short emails that say, wow, or please talk to Jackie or Bas Tawfiq or something. He actually writes more words in his WhatsApp messages to me. Pak Sapta, you never email me, you only WhatsApp me. Come to my Halal conference, WhatsApp. WhatsApp phone call. WhatsApp is what's happening. So, if email is going to go the same route as a handwritten letter, and we're migrating to these platforms, why do we do it? It's permission-based. You know when somebody is online, they gave you their details and they accepted, and they update their information, right? LinkedIn, you update your photograph. Well, some people don't. But you update when you change jobs, you can change phone numbers, and you can still update things. So the idea of having a database or an address book on your physical desktop computer, well, that's out of touch, right? So we migrate to these platforms in real time, dynamic communication, interest-driven. You create a WhatsApp group around a topic. When that topic is done, that conference is over, you leave the group, and then you move on to the next thing. So, back to you, MG.
But this is something very interesting that I've noticed in media. When Muslims speak, right, they make these mistakes that psychology, for example, I've seen this statement be made, and I just go, my gosh. Why? Because the psychological research shows that adding the word not doesn't negate the neural association once heard. So when you see that, or when we hear that, we just see Muslim terrorists, and we've got to get out of this, right? We've got to be much more strategic, much more tactical in how we communicate our story. If you don't write your own story, they'll write it for you. If you don't take control of your own narrative, they'll take control of it for you. So people need to be much more tactical in how they communicate. And this is something that I've come to see time and time again as I'm traveling the world. Entrepreneurship, people know me as being an entrepreneur, an investor. But because of our firm, Dragonfly Black, more and more people, I was just in Greece. Greece, if you know the history of Greece, they were under the Ottoman Empire for 400 years. They have a very, very bad taste of Islam in their mouth, if you've ever been to Greece. But when I was there just a couple of months ago, they go, we want into this global Islamic economy because we have a lot of olive oil, and you guys like olive oil. And they want, and I'm starting to see this all over the world, people are like, hey, can you speak on personal branding? We'd like to, hear you say, some things about how do we stand out in this crowd. And people know me for entrepreneurship, and I started to think about this. Wow, everyone's switching. Everyone wants me to talk about personal branding instead of entrepreneurship. Come to realize, your offering may fail, but your personal brand will prevail. When you set off on the path for entrepreneurship, there's a highly likelihood that you're going to fail. But your personal brand will prevail. Hundreds of million faces on LinkedIn. How do I stand out? This is how you do it. By strengthening your personal brand, building the value of yourself and increasing it and putting it onto the network. But it's very, very, very complicated, right? Human beings people are very layered. We're dealing with race, color, creed. We're dealing with topics, taboo topics that we could never ever talk about before. Black Lives Matter. All these women now coming out of the woodworks to say, he touched me inappropriately. All these people, men of power, are now tumbling. People are so layered, technology, and when you think about what I said about in Bali, how complicated it is, think about that guy in Bali, the guy from Los Angeles who now lives in Bali. He's living multiple lives at the same time. He's dealing with American and European clients, but he's living in Bali. He's experiencing life. He's living as someone in Indonesia, but he's doing business as someone in the West. So when it comes to personal branding, it's absolutely necessary to have a strategy.
I'm going to walk over here because I haven't talked to this side of the room for a while. So, if leaders or people in power are toppling for a variety of reasons, social media is driving this idea of leaderless opposition. Through search, through forums, through consensus, the voiceless are being given a voice. We don't need leaders like we used to have leaders, because we can arrive at a consensus of decisions, and people are doing that. And experiences are important, right? In this digital economy, virtual experiences, meeting people online, selfies, Instagram, we've all done it, the filters, we're living in a dream world. We own less possessions. The younger population, I do an exercise at uni to see how people think on consumer behavior. Now, I say, if your house is burning, what do you take out of your house? Me, I would take a photo album of pictures of my mum, because she's no longer around. She passed away over 10 years ago. I'd take my bass guitar and my samurai sword. Those are my three objects. The younger generation, iPhone, credit card, passport. To me, those things are replaceable. I can get another passport. I can get another phone. Everything's on the cloud. Bank card, you can get another bank card. But for them, it's like, no, 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 no. Those are the possessions that are a gateway to somewhere else. So, these people are owning less. Probably loads of people in the West cannot afford to purchase a house because of the house prices. People are traveling around the world. They're having 10 different careers, 40 different jobs, and it's complicated. But intersectionality is still the secret sauce. Race, religion, gender, age, politics, all of these things. But if it's the secret sauce, what's the secret recipe? What's the blend? What's your spice rack? How do you get all of these things to taste good? And when I mean taste good, I mean your brand, your product offering, your service, so that when people are presented with it, it smells, tastes, feels, touches real. You want it. Now, complicated. Blending things, spices, experiences, identities, personalities. But guess what? Going back to psychology, humans are kind of weird people, right? I want to give you this example. Yeah, have a look. Scenario, imagine you're in London for a minute, on the tube. Lady on the tube sees guy there with a beard, right? Now, she's already afraid of Muslims. Muslims are terrorists, Muslims are uneducated, Muslims are uncivilized, Muslims are scary, Muslims lock their women up. But she thinks he's kind of cute. Now, her brain doesn't think, oh, my bad, I got it wrong. Her brain says, oh, he probably isn't Muslim or Arab. He's probably Italian. That's cognitive dissonance. The idea is that many of us have contradictory views that we hold upon. And if we're confronted with new information that challenges those views, we feel uncomfortable. Probably we will make excuses so that we can hold on to those same contradictory, biased views. The only antidote to that is exposure continually to more and more experiences so that you're not held down to one or two positions. Let's do some more psychology. Mohamed, let's talk about lipstick.
So let me put my shiny head over here. So how does the psychology appear then in the consumer market? One of the theories, lipstick, and this is actually a personal theory, and that's why I present it, the lipstick effect. Anyone knows of it? The theory that rises after post 9/11. Estee Lauder notices an increase in their lipstick, which is very interesting because they hypothesize that women, during this economic downturn, the uncertainty because of what happened on 9/11, women are no longer buying expensive, are not making expensive purchases, large ticket items like blouses and jackets and full suits. They're buying lipstick.
Why?
Because of the economic uncertainty, right? They're now starting to hoard their money, figure out, man, things gonna get better. But they still wanna look good. So what they do is they start buying lipstick. For me, this is very interesting, right? Because when I started my first successful, because I had a ton of failures, wonderful failures too. My first company that actually became successful, my company J&J. This is my tie, We noticed also the lipstick effect. Our company went live 2007, the economic downturn, 2008, 2009. We saw our sales go up. And because men, during the time of economic uncertainty, according to the lipstick effect, people don't want to buy full suits, but they still want to look good. So they were buying ties. So that's why it's a little bit personal when I think about the lipstick effect theory. And because of the uncertainty, how has this, throughout my travels, Professor Wilson and I, we speak all over the world, and I've noticed a couple of things. A rise in Muslim consumerism. We're now in this Trump world. Things are a little bit uncertain. We feel that we're being attacked from all sides. So is there this retail therapy now going on with us? Dolce & Gabbana, Nike, everyone wants in. And another thing that I have seen is this rise, this sharp increase in Muslim entrepreneurship. This phrase, the global Islamic economy, is a very, very new phrase, the GIE. This is an acronym that had come about probably in the last few years by Thomson Reuters. Why? Because in this time where we're uncertain about how the world's gonna view us, what we're gonna do in this world, we wanna just grab the horse by its reins. We wanna control our own destiny. So what better way than to become entrepreneurs, own our own business?
So what you'd expect from me is you want to control your destiny, you want to control your story, you want to control your narrative. You need a brand and brand strategy. This is a model that I created that came out of my PhD research a few years ago. But essentially there are 3 stages, right? First, you have to create that brand. Doesn't matter whether it's professional services, products, food, fashion, finance, yourself, it doesn't matter. Make it as human as possible. And Pak Hermawan, would you agree? You're all about human spirit, right? You've got to put the spirit into the objects that you're creating, right? I call it the spirit of spirituality, or, for the Muslims in the audience, profiting from prophethood. So, create something and make it very human. Live those experiences and be at the center of communication. Socialize, go on social media, talk about anything that's relevant in real time, and be really real about it, and believe in what you say. And you will see people congregating around you, and you will become a focal point in the center of communication. Then, for the top global brands, what happens? They are linked to culture. They become cultural artifacts. And the really, really top global brands, well, they become culture. Culture shapes brands, and brands shape culture. There you go. You know the lyrics. So, if we start to wrap some of this up, and I go back to social media, I think you'll like this slide back. Old social media thinking is like what? Masculine, male. Make audiences like everything. All it's about is follow me, like me. I've got more followers than you. Look how big my following is, right? Look how many people like me. My biceps are bigger than yours. I've done research on selfie taking, and people do all of that, right? This is old. So you know what's coming, right? If old social media thinking is male, what am I going to tell you to do? Female. Focus. Enhance. Multiply. Amplify. Create a legacy. Energize people. Nurture. What do women do? They nurture. They reassure. They nurse. Social media is not about how big I am and how strong I am. It's about 80% of the time telling people how great they are, how wonderful they are. Take a female approach to social media. After all, that's how it was designed, right? Think about the legacy. That's the L that's really important. What is going to be on social media is going to be there forever. So make it good. Therefore, MG, if we stick on branding, what's the secret sauce to making a good brand?
You have to develop very, very strong storytelling skills. This is an acronym put together by Professor Wilson. Personality has got to shine through, right? Hundreds of millions of faces on all these social media platforms. What is your unique competitive advantage? What do you have? Like one of my teachers says, everyone has a New York Times best-selling story of their life. It's just how it's written. Your personality's got to shine through. Legitimacy. You've got to be certified, right? And certification doesn't necessarily mean you have to have the PhD or the MBA or all of that. You just got to be someone that's constantly and consistently presenting thoughts, taking risks. Let me put this idea out on LinkedIn. Let me write this on Medium. Throwing up a bunch of ideas against the wall and seeing what sticks. And if something sticks, that may actually make you go viral. But this consistent output creates legitimacy. And if you have the letters, that's a very good way about going about it as well. Authenticity. One of my favorite poets, Dr. Seuss, said, "Today you are you, today is true, Today you are you that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you." You've got to have the real, authentic you shine through. And when you do, people like that. Especially being of the Nusantara. We're people that we see Professor Wilson, we're like, wow, he's so fun. Because we are a bit inhibited by our culture, by our family. Certain things hold us back that we look to the West with like, wish we could have that. But things are changing. Intersectionality, as Professor Wilson talked about, very important. The nexus is just getting wider and wider. Information's being presented, very rapid rates. Intersectionality just becoming bigger, credibility. So you may be certified, but you may not be qualified. If your information is irrelevant, if it's dated, people are not going to trust you. And you've got to be able to incite, bring about excitement, but also express empathy, sympathy. I understand what you're going through. But then when your YouTube vlog comes up, oh, wow, Professor Wilson has some new content up. Let me check this out. And let's bring this all together. If you had the Marketeers magazine, Professor Wilson actually elaborates on this. I like reading it because it's nice and rhymey, so let me read it, right? The approach to entrepreneurship and personal branding. Show your game, claim your lane. Own that name, take the reins. Trade on brains and do it again and again. Let me briefly go over each one. Show your game. You have a competitive edge. You've got to just put your ideas out there. Show people that you're thinking, you have insight, your experiences, you're talking about it, you're thinking deeply. I tell people, if you really, really pay close attention to life, everything can be your teacher. Every moment can be your teacher if you pay attention. Claim your lane. Consistency. You've got to be consistent. Social media, when people see you on social media and you're consistent, this trust appears. Wow, I've seen him again. I'm seeing him again. Wow, very good insight. I really like his comments. So you've got to be able to make it clear what you're about. Staying with your brand, making it clear what you're about. Own that name. Do you own your domain name? I was in Microsoft headquarters in Kuala Lumpur. Microsoft headquarters. And they said, Mohamed Geraldez, we've done our research on you. And I said, yeah, you are what Google says you are. And they looked at each other and I said, I mean, you are what Bing says you are. Do you own your domain? Do you own that sector? Are you the Colgate? Are you the Kleenex? Are you the Coca-Cola of that particular industry? Take the reins. You're in control of your own destination. If I Google you, what do I find? Taking the reins, controlling your destination, I decided I was in Reykjavik, Iceland a year ago, and I decided to pray istikhara. I wanted to know, and should I start vlogging? And that's why I actually vlog now, is because of this. I wanted to take the reins. I'm telling people to create content, to own their lane, to own their name, take the reins. So I've got a hit on every platform, and then trade on brains. You're a connected thought leader. If anyone has seen Pak Hermawan is consistently surrounded by thought leaders. A players like to play with A players. If you kick butt in making speakers, trust and believe, you will end up being with the guy who kicks butt, or the girl who kicks butt in tires, then who kicks butt in event management. A players like to play with A players. Why? So what do? Association. You need to associate with yourself with thought leaders and people who are A players. And just do it over and over and over.
So, it's really simple. I got my A game. I'm just going to tell you to follow me. But I'd like to follow you. So, are you ready to surf that wave? Or are you going to wipe out? I'm hoping we're going to surf some waves. That's a photograph from Bali. That's a friend of mine from Texas, come to Bali to surf some Indonesian waves. Are we ready for this? Rob's always ready. Rob was born ready. Are we ready for this?
Yeah!
Are we ready for this? That's more like it. So, before we go, right? Remember I said get in touch. But I want, Geraldez, put me on the spot, ask me a difficult question, and then I'll ask you one.
Ask you a difficult question?
Yeah, because we got like 5 minutes, and I want to use those 5 minutes.
No, we're good. Guns N' Roses or Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Oh, man.
You want a difficult question? I'm going to give you a difficult question.
Okay, so Red Hot Chili Peppers, they were like 1984. They've had Red Hot Chili Peppers. They've had Freaky Styley, Uplift Mofo Party Plan, Mother's Milk, Blood Sugar, Sex Magic. It's too many albums, right? Guns N' Roses, though, Welcome to the Jungle. They played in Jakarta. I remember when I came to Jakarta, I heard Welcome to the Jungle being sound-checked. It stopped. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. the adhan for Fajr, and then afterwards, from a branding perspective, Slash is the guy, right? Same hairstyle, same hat, same guitar, same pose. That's great branding for me. But I want to ask the audience, who's for Guns N' Roses? Who's for the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Whoa.
Because you like it spicy, right? Okay, I got to go with the consensus. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So, John, we have a surprise for you today. So we're gonna sing happy birthday. Everyone say happy birthday, John. We're gonna sing for you. Thank you so much. You're a wonderful crowd.